Hey guys, so for the longest time and still sometimes, Apple products have a high barrier to entry because of price. This is a 2013 Mac Pro. Now that every time that Apple releases a new product, people get rid of the old and get new. So that's why older products that used to be unthinkable to purchase become easy to buy. Like these first gen, these cinema displays are stupidly cheap. They're kind of old, but they're fairly cheap now. And of them, you can actually get a 30-inch model, which is the only 30-inch model of anything that Apple has made. Anyhow, for people who need to use Apple products and do any kind of production work with audio, video, whatever. Now, if you're doing photography, I recommend an iMac, because unless you're doing a lot of photography or you already have a very nice monitor, because iMacs already have a really, really good display built in. But audio, video stuff, with a little bit touch of photography and creative work on the side, if you have to use Apple products, this is becoming a great machine at a decent price now. You can look on the front and you see it's got 4 USB ports, 6 Thunderbolt ports that you can use for connect to a cinema display, and you can get the Thunderbolt display, and you can get those Thunderbolt displays under 200 now. And or you could get just an actual nice display and then get like a Thunderbolt 2 to 3 adapter, or a Thunderbolt to like HDMI or whatever, or you can use an HDMI port here. It's got 2 Ethernet ports and the power and a plug-in. If it's plugged in and you turn it to the side, the ports light up so you can see what's what. Kind of cool. So this, and these, they come with, and you can run up to 128 gigs of RAM. The ones I have put 64 gigs of RAM in it. That's more than enough for most people. It's EEC RAM, which is like server RAM. Error correcting code RAM, which is, again, it's what most servers use. And you have a good list of processors you can use. Anything from a quad core all the way up to a 12 core processor with various speeds, and there's a list out there like what all the processors this thing can use. But it handles quite a bit of RAM. And if you want to get an iMac with all these specs, you're looking at a bunch of money. Or, and the only machines that'll touch these things is your pimped out 5th generation Mac Pro, your higher end iMacs, your highest end Mac Mini, your really expensive MacBook Pros, which when you pay a premium for portability. So this thing is not really that bad heavy. It's like 5 or 6 pounds, I think. Let's take a look at it. Now this is like an aluminum shell. And I want to say it's anodized aluminum. And so here's on the left hand and right hand side, you got your RAM. And then back here, you got your processor and your I think that might be the GPU. And then this is the I believe this is the other GPU with the SSD. Now the downsides to these, now you can put any size SSD you want in here, up to like, whatever size you need. So the downsides to these are that your graphics cards are limited unless you run an external one with its own case and power and everything. You're limited, your internal hard drive space is limited unless you get a special card or an adapter and pay $800 or something. You're limited to just one hard drive. So you're limited on internal, but you can always get external hard drives. And Thunderbolt has good speeds. You can get an external hard drive, connect it with a Thunderbolt cable, and be good to go. So for all of its issues, there are fixes. If you need more than 64 or 128 gigs of RAM, you probably need to be looking at like a server or something anyway. And if you need a really nice GPU, other than the 3 or 4 that are offered with this, you probably need to look at a high-end iMac or a high-end Mac Pro. You know, you can just get a Windows computer if you're looking for that. But the good thing, and you have, you know, like I said, you have anywhere from quad core all the way up to like 12 core. And I think all of those processors have hyper threading, and which kind of doubles the cores essentially. And they have turbo boost, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're all Ivy Bridge models. But you can put quite a bit of RAM in this thing. You have I mean, granted, you have some GPUs that you can add to it. Or you can get a model that has a nice one built into it. And it should be enough for today's work. And you can change the processors on these. There's quite a few options. Like I said, anywhere from quad core all the way up to 12 core. And you can run you know, I run 2 monitors off of this one. You can run quite a few off of it. All the ports are in one spot. You can rack mount these on the side actually, or get one of those side mount cases or whatever, or you can get straps and hell, put it up underneath your tight desk if you want to. But it looks nice. It doesn't take up a lot of room. And as far as Apple goes, you can go from, I want to say, OS X 10.10 Mavericks. You can go from that all the way up to Monterey. It runs the newest version of Mac OS. So, and all those versions in between. If you need a specific version that's relatively modern, you got it covered with this. The Mac Pro itself, the 4th and 5th gen, they're stuck at 12.3 right now, I believe, in Monterey. But you have to hack that. Otherwise, without hacks, you're stuck at Mojave on it. But it goes back further. I think the best bang for the buck, these are, if you got a 4th or a 5th gen, or if you're needing to entry of them, and I've seen these as low as 500 or 550, I would say, and as high, you know, you can spend, you know, $1,000, $1,300 on them, but you can get a good model for about $700, $800. And if you build a computer yourself, custom, you're going to spend $800 to $1,000, a good one anyway, Windows. So if you're needing an Apple computer and you're needing something with some power behind it, and you have a budget of about $800, because if you have a budget of $500, you're going to be looking at the 4th and 5th gen models, and you're going to have to learn how to hack newer versions onto it. These are coming down in price, especially if you get a base model and then just buy the RAM yourself. You know, spend 50 or 100 or however much on some RAM, get like 32 gigs of RAM. You can buy the RAM yourself and put it in there. With the right tools, you can change the processor yourself. You'll need some thermal paste and a couple of wrenches and a couple of hours to take it apart carefully. Either that or just pay somebody to do it. But they're not bad machines. They don't take up a lot of space. They have quite a bit of power for the size. Granted, your graphics processor options are limited. You have quite a bit of options as far as processors go. You can put quite a bit of RAM in it. There's a lot of different kinds of peripherals that you can put with it. You don't have to run Thunderbolt displays. You can run pretty much any kind of display as long as you can find a Thunderbolt to whatever adapter or an HDMI port. And so you have a lot of options with these. You just can't load it full of hard drives. You'll have to get you an external hard drive dock or a case or something for that. So let me know what you think if you have any questions.